Hello, welcome to my channel. You're watching What Helen Reads. I'm Helen and today we are going to be finding out what I'm going to be reading in the month of May. So this is always one of my favourite videos to record because I get to pick some books randomly from either my jars or my TBR cards, and so it's always a bit of a mystery. I get quite excited about what it is that I'm going to be reading, and in addition I usually put a few new releases on my list as well that I definitely want to get to in that particular month. In the month of May I'll also be participating in the Mafia Romance Readathon that has been organised by Jen from the Book Refuge. It is taking place between Thursday the 9th of May and Sunday the 12th of May. This year she's got a couple of co-hosts that are going to be helping her out, which is Cheyenne from That Tall Book Girl, Jackie from Jackie Kennedy 103120, and then Jess from Honest Fiction. Now, as I'm recording this, Jen hasn't put up the full rules for this particular romance readathon this year, but what I do know is it's a static bingo board with particular prompts, but they're fairly generic, so it'll be easy to tick some off. She's also introduced a point system, so you earn points for the different types of books that you read, and also you earn points if you read a host recommendation. And then depending on how many points you earn for yourself during the Romance Readathon, you then get assigned a Mafia rank, the top one being obviously the Don or the Donna, then the Consigliere, the Underboss, the Capo, and then the Enforcer. So I'll definitely be taking part in that because, as you know, I absolutely love Mafia romances, so never want to miss that readathon. Okay, so without further ado, let's get stuck in, and as always I start with this big jar here, which is So Many Books, So Little Time, and in here basically is all of the books that have been recommended by you, so people that have viewed my videos and recommended a book to me. Now, I do have a book recommendations form which is in the description box down below, so if you want to recommend a book that you want me to read, please fill in that form, and basically every month I check to see if I've had any new recommendations, pop them onto bits of paper, turn them into stars, and then add them to my jar. If you don't want to fill out the form, that's also okay. Basically, if you put a comment in a comment of my video telling me which book you want me to read, I'll also take a look at that as well, and if it appeals to me then I'll add it to the jar. So without further ado then, let's see what I'm going to be picking this month. What I tend to do is just shake it up, tip a few out, and I've got a few in my hand here, and I'm going to pick this yellow star here. So I'm going to put the rest away, tidy up as I go along, put the lid back on. Okay, so the one that I've picked out is Property of Drex by C M Owens. It's been recommended by Vanessa5641, and it looks like this one is an MC romance. So let's take a closer look at what this one is about. So this looks like it's a fairly old book actually. It was published back in 2016. It is actually a short book at 133 pages, so that's ideal because that helps me get through my TBR for the month as well. There's 4 books in this series, and it's part of the Death Chasers MC, and the blurb on this one says, Eve, what's the most selfish thing you've ever done? What price tag would you put on the ability to save the ones you love? They say the worst decisions are made by the desperate or the fools. I was desperate enough to make a foolish decision to save my family. The cost? Me. They may be a motorcycle club, but in all honesty, they're really an elite unit of criminals who just happen to drive motorcycles. They're a business, an organisation, a fully functioning army. What I've learned, they work in the grey area. Life and death is real, and everyone wants everyone dead. Okay, so maybe that's dramatic. No, it's not. It's legit. I prepared for the worst, fully anticipating hating my new life. Turns out, I finally found out where I belonged. Oh, and I discovered I'm a little twisted or crazy. Maybe both. Drex Kane, the man without a conscience, didn't ruin me the way I thought he would. Instead, he made me feel like I was living instead of just waiting to live. And I can never go back to the way things used to be. What I'm also noting here at the bottom is it says that book 1 does actually end on a cliffhanger, so it looks like this is actually part of a duet. Although there's 4 in this series, it says that the first 2 books are about the same couple, and then after that the others can be read as standalones. So I'm just going to check out the second book because if I really like the first one, I'll probably just read the second one as well. And it is called Property of Drex number 2, book 2. That's 232 pages, so actually that's doable because collectively together they're less than 400 pages. so I should be able to get through that duet. So hopefully I like the first one. If I do, then I'll continue on with the second book in that series as well. Okay, so then the next jar that I like to pick a star from is this one here, and it's a smaller jar, but basically this one contains some of the book recommendations from my favourite YouTubers, and so I watched their end of year videos from 2023 and picked out some that really interested me of some of my favourite booktubers and what they said their favourites were for the year. So I am going to pick this orange star here. Okay, so this one is You and Me by Tal Bauer, and this has been recommended by Jen from the Book Refuge. It was part of her top 10 from 2023. I happen to know that this is an MM romance, so you can see what I've picked out there. So this is an MM single dad romance, and the blurb says, "We're a puzzle made of two pieces. Landon Larson is the enemy of all the dads in Last Waters, Texas. He's cool, confident and put together. He and his son, the high school's all-star quarterback, have the perfect father-son relationship. He's such a super dad, it's almost sickening. I'm not cool or confident and my relationship with my son couldn't be worse. He's barely speaking to me, and a year after my wife died, we're both clinging to the wreckage of our family. Landon's son and mine are best friends, and of course Landon is the football team dad. And though I know nothing about football, Landon convinces me to volunteer to be closer to my son. Volunteering might give him and me a chance to rebuild what's broken between us. Now I'm spending all my free time with the team and with Landon, and the more we're together, the deeper our friendship grows. My son is opening up too, little by little. I think I'm getting him back. There's just one giant problem. I'm head over heels for Landon. I've never been attracted to men in my life until him. Landon draws me in without even trying, and the harder I fight this, the deeper I fall. Crushing on my son's best friend's father must be my biggest parenting failure ever, but I can't get enough of Landon. Falling for him puts each fragile moment I've rebuilt with my son at risk. What would he think if he knew I craved his best friend's dad? I'm playing with fire, but I can't turn off these feelings Landon has unlocked inside of me. Of course, a guy like Landon could never fall for someone like me. It's pointless to even imagine we could be something together. So why did I kiss him?" Right then, so next I like to pick something from my prompt cards. So these are prompt cards, and then I get to pick something that's been on my TBR for a while, sometimes I try and pick things that are from books that are on my bookshelf that I haven't got to yet, and other times I will just go through kind of my wish list, if you like, on Amazon. So these are the cards. They've got all kinds of different prompts on them, and I'm just going to give them a shuffle. I'm not very good at shuffling. I usually drop them everywhere, and then I am going to pick a card out of here. This should be fairly easy because it says choose a book which has a person on the front cover. Okay, so the one that stood out to me when I went through my kind of my reading list on Amazon is this one here. It's Hitting a Wall by Cate C. Wells. It's part of the Stonecook County series. This one says, she's not a secret, she's a second chance. And the first part is Shay. So 6 years ago, the good, upstanding men of Stonecook County ran me off. I took a secret with me, an inconvenient truth they wanted buried. Actions have consequences. Their perfect golden boy maybe wasn't so perfect after all. When life hands me one too many lemons, I'm forced to go back, and in Stonecook, nothing ever changes. Callum Wall is still golden, I'm still unwanted, and being swayed by his cocksure smile will most certainly ruin my life all over again. Callum, I believe that there are still good men left in this world, and I strive to be one. I was raised to live by a code, God and country, protect and serve. I always do the right thing, even when it's hard, and yet somehow I've made an unforgivable mistake. I want what I lost, the woman, the child, the white picket fence, but it's not going to come easy. Shay's a survivor. She doesn't believe in happy ever after, and earning her trust might be the hardest thing I've ever done. She's got my heart in her hands though, and this time I'm not letting her slip through my fingers. It says Hitting the Wall is a steamy, small-town romance featuring a secret baby and a second chance at love. It's the first book in the Stonecook County series, and it's intended only for adult readers. So I'm going to add that one to the list for the month of May. Okay, so then I've got this pack of cards here, which is going to be for my second prompt for the month. And I'm going to pick this one here, which says read a book with flowers on the cover. So again, I'm going to go through my reading list on Amazon and see if I can find something with flowers on it. Okay, so I'm going to pick this one here, and this is a fairly new release. It's called The More I Hate by Blake Hensley, which is actually a two best-selling authors, Zoe Blake and Alta Hensley, who have written this one together. So it only came out in January. It basically says, his family dared to challenge mine, so I'm going to ruin them, starting with stealing his bride. Only a cold-hearted villain would destroy an innocent bride's special day over a business deal gone bad, which is why I choose this precise moment to disrupt New York's high society's most anticipated wedding of the season. As I am Luke Manwaring II, billionaire heir to one of the most powerful families in the country, no one is brave enough to stop me. My revenge plan is deceptively simple. Humiliate the groom, then blackmail the bride's family into coercing the bride into marrying me instead. My ruthless calculations do not anticipate my reluctant bride having so much fight and fire in her. At every opportunity, she resists my dominance and control, even going so far as trying to escape my dark plans for her. She was only supposed to be a means to an end, an unwilling player in my game of revenge, but the more she challenges me, the more I begin to wonder who is playing who. So I'm really excited to read that one. I really like Zoe Blake's writing, and this will be the first time I've read something from her where she has co-written it with somebody else. Okay, so then in the month of May, I've got a couple of new releases that I definitely want to get to or will be getting arcs for. So the first one is Diamond in the Rough by Emilia Finn. This is due out on the 10th of May, and it's book 2 in her Underbelly Enchanted series. I really enjoyed book 1, and I'm looking forward to picking up book 2. Also, it's a Mafia romance, so it might be one that I save for the Mafia Romance Readathon, but that's only over a few days, so I probably won't have time to get to all of them because I've got quite a few Mafia romances on my list for this month. So the blurb on this one said, he's New York's deadliest enforcer, but I'm the villain in this story. Mika Malone is the son of a notoriously cruel and thankfully dead mafia boss. Now he's the organisation's enforcer and right hand to his brother's reign. He's the broadest of 5 boys, the quietest and the deadliest. Yet even with his blade pressed to my throat, he's still the only man who makes me feel alive. It's toxic and dangerous to pursue a relationship with him. I know better. But Mika is like a flame, burning bright in the night, and I'm more scared of the dark than of the monsters who hide amongst the shadows. I won't count on surviving the city's most ruthless assassin, not once he decides my time is up, but I'm confident any evening spent in his bed will be worth it. So then after that, I have got Ruthless Savage on my list by Lilian Harris. This is actually due out on the 2nd of May, and I'm actually due to get an arc for this one on the 25th of April. So it may be one that I read towards the very end of April. If not, I'll read it in the very first few days of May. And this one is an age gap bodyguard Irish mafia romance, and it's part of the Savage Kings series, which is a new series that she's just starting, but it's a spin-off from the last one. So this is a new steamy age gap bodyguard Irish mafia standalone. Every Quinn is off limits, too young, too innocent, and far too forbidden. Her father is the head of the Irish mob, and I'm just her bodyguard tasked to keep her safe. She's my job, but she's also a maddening temptation, one I need to stay away from. But I underestimate the feisty little spitfire. She creeps under my skin, pushes all of my buttons until I unravel. I can't resist the untouched Irish princess. With every hungered look, with every illicit touch, I want her more. Downright needing her until the lines start to blur. But I can't have her. She has no idea who I truly am. My past is as dark as it is dangerous, and my enemies are coming. If she's mine, they'll come for her too. When her life is threatened, I have no choice but to save her, though saving her comes at a price. And I also wanted to pick up Boomslang by Naomi Lucas. Now this is not a new release in May, but her final book in the Naga Bride series, Cottonmouth, was due out on the 14th. Now she has pushed the release date back, but we're still expecting it in the first half of the year. But I haven't yet read book 5 in the series, and I've loved books 1 through to 4. So I thought May would be the perfect time to read book 5 so that I'm ready for when book 6 comes out, hopefully before the end of June. The blurb on this one says, I've lost my chance to claim a bride. No more females remain. They have all been taken by Naga males that will kill to keep them. So when I hear a female scream within my territory, I do not hesitate. I go after her, intending to claim her for my own and prove my strength, my worth. This is my chance. Except she is not one of the human females I have come to know. She has just arrived. She is hurt, afraid, and fleeing from another male. But she does not want to be saved. She wants to fight. And she does not want to bask in my nest. She wants to leave. She has secrets and she refuses to share them. This human female is far more than I bargained for. Good thing I'm up for a challenge. So then I have 4 additional Mafia romances that I want to try and get to in the month of May, particularly for the Mafia Romance Read-along if I have time for them. 2 of them I've picked up from the host recommendations. So like I said at the start, there are 4 hosts. You get extra points if you read a host recommendation. Now I've actually read one of the books that has been recommended by a host, and this is When She Unravels by Gabrielle Sands. That was Cheyenne from That Tall Book Girl's recommendation. Now I actually read that one last month, really enjoyed it, want to carry on with the rest of that series for sure. And then Jen from the Book Refuge has recommended Twisted Pride by Cora Riley. Now I do absolutely want to read that one, I will get to it, but I want to read all the books in order, and I've only just finished book 7 in the first series, and I haven't yet moved on to the Camorra Chronicles, so I'm not going to pick that one up this month. However, there's 2 other books that have been recommended. One is by Jess from Honest Fiction, and she recommended Little Dove by Layla Frost, so that is going to be one of the ones I read. And then Jackie from Jackie Kennedy 103120 on Instagram has recommended The Bratva's Baby by Jane Henry and Sophie Lark. Now when I actually googled this one, Jane Henry has actually written a book called The Bratva's Baby, but the book that's written by Jane Henry and Sophie Lark is actually The Bratva's Heir, so I can only assume that is the one that she meant, and so that is the one that I've put on my TBR. So first of all then, let's start with Little Dove, and this is book 1 of Black Resorts series. So the blurb on this one says, where do I begin? Oh yeah, once upon a time, isn't that how all good fairy tales start? And Maximo and I, we were definitely a fairy tale. Not the cleaned up, sanitized ones where life's problems were solved with a smile and a song. We were the old school kind, the tales packed with greed, violence and tragic beginnings. Okay, so maybe we weren't a traditional fairy tale. After all, Maximo was more villain than prince. He was scarily sexy, devilishly charming, controlling, possessive and dangerous. He gave me the world. In exchange, I gave him what he wanted most. Me. All of me. I was his little dove. And heaven help anyone who tried to free me from my gilded cage. So then The Bratva's Heir by Jane Henry and Sophie Lark is actually part of the Underworld Kings series. I've read one book in this series before, I think, but it's kind of like a collection of Mafia romances written by different authors. This particular one is book 3 in this series. So the blurb says, it's a standalone novel in the Underworld Kings series. Prison's a dark, bleak place, but Claire brings me light. My sweet little bird will be my ticket to freedom. The first time I saw her, I had to have her. From her big, dark eyes to the curves she can't conceal, the way she can only hold my gaze so long, the way she shivers every time I move inside these chains, and most of all, the way she'll bend the rules when I order her to. I know a natural submissive when I see one. Her degrees and titles don't change who she is, a woman who will bend to my will. She doesn't know it yet, but Claire is mine. Mine to train, mine to protect, and mine to control. So they're the 2 from the host recommendations, and then I have actually 2 Mafia romances that I've had on my Kindle, which I downloaded last month because they are actually authors that are going to be at Rare 24 in Edinburgh later this year, and they are Mafia romances, and I just wanted to pick them up, see if I like them, just in anticipation of seeing those authors at the book signing later in the year. So the first one is actually Vlad by Cate, Dukey and Webster, and it's book 1 of the V games. It's a slightly shorter book at 252 pages, so that's also good because I've got quite a lot on my TBR for next month already, and so I could do with a couple of shorter ones that I can get through quickly. So the blurb on this one says, everything I do has purpose, everything I do has reason, until her. The Vasiliev name is a powerful one. We rule with an iron fist and we do it well. Being the eldest, I'm father's best hope at keeping us at the top of the food chain. Everything I do has purpose. Everything I do has reason. Until her. I play my games thinking several moves ahead. Power, power, power. Until her. The next move requires I marry and soon. This will strengthen us and secure our position. But I am not to marry her. I am to wed the eldest Volkov. Problem is, her younger sister is the one who awakens my dead heart. It's her I want in my bed and by my side forever. Her, her, her. In this game though, it's not about what I want, but maybe it can be about what she wants. I am Vlad, vile, vicious, villainous Vasiliev, and I will win eventually. And then the final one then that I want to put on my TBR for the month of May is Distance by Luna Mason, and this is book 1 in Beneath the Mask series. It's a dark mafia romance. So the blurb on this one is Keller. From a poor underground street fighter, I rose to fame as the world heavyweight boxing champion. No one knew I was also a monster who hunted in the shadows, trapped in the mafia until my debts were paid. A simple deal held my freedom, unify my belts. It seemed simple until an enchanting British firecracker landed on my lap, knocking me sideways. Wanting her was dangerous for us both, but I took her anyway, leaving me with the choice, fight for my freedom or hers. When the truth is unmasked, could she still love me? Would love be enough to battle our demons and come out on top? And then we've got Sienna. Newly single and focusing on building my life in New York, I've sworn off men for the foreseeable. No one had ever stuck around long enough to let me believe in fairy tales anyway. That was until him. He tried to hide himself from me, but I couldn't stay away. When the mask shattered and the truth was revealed, could I still stay? Even if it meant my life was at stake. Could we get past our fear of love and fight for a happily ever after? So there you go. If I've done my sums right, that is 11 books on my TBR for the month of May. It's fairly ambitious because it doesn't leave me very much room to mood read. But I have put in a few extra Mafia romances in here just because it's the Mafia Romance Readathon in the month of May as well, like I said before, and I am very excited to get to all of these. So thank you very much for watching. If you made it this far, please give me a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content from me. Remember, if you want to recommend a book to me, then you can use the book recommendations form in the link below in the description box, or just leave me a comment and let me know. I will take a look at them. Any that look interesting to me, if I haven't read them before, then I will write them down and put them into my jar for a chance to pick them out next month. So all that's left to say is thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye. I've sworn off men for this. I've sworn off men for this. He was scarily sexy, devilishly charming, controlling, possessive, and then just start that again. I can't resist the untouched Irish princess. I can't resist the untouched Irish princess. My tummy is rumbling so bad. It's like I've not eaten for 10 days and all I've been doing is eating. Right. Landon Larson is the enemy. Start again. It's not the enemy, it's the envy. It's not an enemy to anyone.